G'day from Monaco, home to the uber wealthy and an amazing array of yachts in the background. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. It is my favourite event to photograph for a whole number of reasons. And in a moment, I'll give you a rundown of what I saw this weekend at the Monaco Grand Prix. I love photographing the Monaco Grand Prix. It offers so many beautiful angles and so many great photographs, but my gosh, is this place expensive, and I did a video on that. But somebody actually sent me their receipt from the Hotel de Paris front lobby bar where they bought 2 Coca-Colas, €44. Unbelievable. But that aside, I've got plenty of stories to tell you from the weekend. I had to laugh on Saturday. I was in pit lane, and then I spotted Melina from Aston Martin Hospitality. She was carrying a whole host of glasses down pit lane, and I realised she's going to be in strife because the cars were coming out. She realised that too, so she handed the glasses over to someone on the other side of the fence. But then because she's got a tight skirt on, she can't get over the fence. Luckily, one of the guys from Pirelli came to her rescue and lifted her manually over the fence. A minute or so later, she was landed across the track and those glasses got to the garage. Congratulations to Max, who won again, and it's now becoming fairly predictable. So the interest is amongst the minor place getters, with Esteban Ocon being the story of the weekend and his magnificent exuberance on the podium. But did you notice though, when he went to step on his number 3 podium, he actually slipped because it was wet, knocked his bottle of champagne over. Luckily, Max Verstappen was there to rescue it, otherwise he might have lost a fair whack of that valuable frothy liquid. If you were like me and wanted to watch the Indy 500 Sunday night, and you're in a different country from where your account is, you couldn't, unless you had a VPN like Surfshark. What's Surfshark? Well, it's an app and a browser extension that allows you to position your device anywhere in the world, which is pretty important for someone like me who's moving around a bit. In the Middle East and some other countries, there are certain websites and apps that I can't access unless I can position my device somewhere else in the world, which is where Surfshark VPN comes in. And at the moment, if you want to save 83%, get 3 extra months free and a money-back guarantee, I'm going to urge you to click on the link below and take advantage of that offer by using the promo code KIM. There's no way I could function without a VPN, so I'm going to suggest Surfshark is the one for you. Go and check them out. Let's talk fashion in the paddock, and in particular Lewis Hamilton with these 4 outfits over the 4 days. This one here has a number 23 on the front, but on the back it had number 24. Something I didn't realise until a couple of you pointed it out in the comments on Instagram. Oh, and still with Lewis, he was pretty much mobbed on one of the days because he only had 2 security guards, and you'd think 2, surely that's enough. No, people just flocked to him, in particular some of the local photographers who were right up in his face. One thing photographing the race, we have this magnificent aspect of all this colour going on with people filling the balconies. And this shot I loved. It was just behind one of the balconies I shot from. And to me, it just shows how much excitement there is from the locals about the event. And the view from some of these terraces is absolutely astounding. Have a look at this. Most of the cars are in this shot. This was the start. And if you have a look down here, this is Conor McGregor's boat. And there are so many multi-millionaires with boats out there. Boats like Lawrence Stroll's boat, which is one of those. And I believe he had dinner with Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones on one of the nights. And if we're talking celebrities, let's run through a few that I saw. Real Madrid's goalkeeper and his girlfriend. Spider-Man star Tom Holland, he was very popular, even waved the flag. No, I did not get a photo of that. Orlando Bloom. Neymar, the soccer player, footballer. Chris Rock was there, having some fun with some friends. He actually had a little interaction with Lance Stroll, who was sitting on the ground waiting for the national anthem at some stage. I can't tell you what was said because it was bloody noisy. And Australian songstress Kylie Minogue was there. Now this fella's a character. This is Billy Hill, and I've featured him before in a couple of videos. He actually gets up onto the hill, which is one of the cheapest tickets that you can buy in Formula One. Not very comfortable. You're sitting on pretty much a whole lot of dirt, and you've got to bring your chairs up every day. But then he shouts across the void between the hill and the paddock with his loud hailer, and he's quite comical. Daniel Ricciardo was along for Red Bull doing lots of PR duties and gave us this great pose on Saturday. Did he drive to the track? No, he didn't. In fact, none of the drivers drove. They rode or they took boats, and I'll go into that in more detail in a video later this week. Did you notice in my picture of Lando Norris coming in on one of his dad's pure electric scooters that indeed he was wearing a race helmet on the Saturday? I can't remember him having done that previously. This is the Monaco paddock. It's incredibly condensed, and in actual fact, it's so small that Red Bull can't even get their own hospitality suite in here. they're actually out in the water. But this is pretty much the largest area you'll find. It's a fraction of the size of most paddocks. Behind me here is a walkway down to some of the hospitality areas, and there's also a walkway on the other side that's slightly wider. But really, when you look at something like China, which has a huge expanse, this is nothing. Behind me is the Red Bull Energy Station. It's a magnificent platform for Red Bull to entertain all of their guests along with their team people, and it's outside of the paddock. So this is general admittance area. Down here is a dock, and it's where a lot of their guests and drivers pull up in their tenders. On Thursday and Friday, a couple of non-Red Bull drivers rolled up on their tenders and went to get off at the Red Bull jetty. Red Bull said no. Now, that's hardly surprising given the fact that they've reserved that and paid for it for mainly their corporate people and their team members. So Pierre Gasly on Friday, for instance, went to get off there and they said, no, you can't come. Now, remember, Pierre was a Red Bull driver for a number of years, but I don't think there's any malice in the fact that they denied him entry. It's just that was reserved for their people, so he had to come off at this section of the jetty. Thursday, Lewis Hamilton rolled up and went to do exactly the same thing, and once again Red Bull said, no, you can't come in. So he was then made to go to the other jetty. However, George Russell was doing an interview on a boat, and that blocked Lewis's access to that little area for him to get off. So he had to bide his time on his boat for a few minutes while George finished up his interview. Getting back to the Red Bull Energy Station, they have a pool up on the top deck, and it's tradition for Red Bull drivers, if they win the race here in Monaco, to go for a swim. Daniel Ricciardo's done it, Sergio Perez has done it. However, this year, it's not legal to fill a pool, so they've gone and rented a whole lot of balls and pool toys to fill up their pool. But what about the Monaco swimming pool? Well, yes, that was empty for a while, but a few days prior to this event, their pool was magically filmed because it looks better on telly than an empty pool. It was great hearing all those horns on the boats go off after both quali and the race. It's a real symphony of noise and one of the real pluses of this particular event. One thing's for sure about Monaco, it certainly draws out the families of drivers, and in particular, who do we see this weekend? Well, plenty of parents. Pierre Gasly's parents were there, so were Yuki Tsunoda's, along with Carlos Sainz's. We had Max's dad. I met Fernando's dad for the first time. Oscar Piastri's dad, well, he's at most races, so he was there again. Lance Stroll's dad was, of course, there. And on the partner side of things, yes, we had Kelly Piquet, Kika, Pierre Gasly's girlfriend. Carmen Montero Munt was with George Russell, looking sparkling here on the Sunday, both in white. Tiffany Cromwell was colourfully dressed, but perhaps the most remarkable outfit I saw on the weekend was this one from Egle Hulkenberg, Sunny as she's known otherwise, who also had their daughter with them this weekend. And I met Charles' girlfriend. That's all I can show you at the moment. Oh, and what was my favourite picture for the weekend? This one. The shot of Charles Leclerc coming out of the tunnel on the Friday in beautiful light. This is actually the cover pic for my Monaco Grand Prix book, which you can get online and buy now. 24 fantastic images of the race. But it's a tough shot to get too, because I'm shooting through the gap in the Armco, which is about that big, lying on the ground. The cars rip through there and blow all this muck and stuff up into your eyes, and you have to hope that the moment you take a shot like this, that the car is in focus and it's sparking. Tick. So that brings us to an end of my Monaco video. I trust you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and you can become a member of my page. Every race weekend I post about 1,500 images to prostarpics.com for editorial and personal use. Go and check it out. My Monaco GP photo book is going to be an absolute ripper. You can find that at kimellman.com, along with merchandise, wall art and signed driver prints. And for my best images live from the track and all during the week, go to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate.